And welcome to this special bonus session this week for the Guest Expert Incubator. I am Jessica Rhodes, the founder of Interview Connections, and I'm super excited to be joined by one of our longtime clients, Mark Ritter, who's going to share a little bit about his success story with podcast guesting, where he was at when he first started getting booked on podcasts, and the results he's seen over the last several years. So Mark, thank you for joining us. Can you introduce yourself to our audience here? Just tell us who you are and what your business is.
Sure. I'm Mark Ritter, the CEO of Member Business Financial Services, but we just call it MBFS. And we are a company that is owned by 13 credit unions and work with credit unions all across the country to help businesses and real estate investors get the financing they need.
Awesome. And where were you in your business when you found Interview Connections and you first decided to make an investment in getting booked on podcasts?
Sure. Me personally, I would describe myself as a very introverted, boring banker. And I like to talk with people, but being kind of out in the community and online and wasn't my thing. But what I found was that I was an avid podcast listener. And I thought to myself, I react to these shows. I listen to these shows. I listen to the ads. I listen to the host and I react to what they say. Wouldn't it be great if I could be on that other end to tell people our story? Because we're in a business that's generally a intensive one-on-one personal selling business. And we needed a way to reach our audience beyond just the traditional advertising, which can be very expensive and ineffective, and doing the handshake circuit at a lot of different events, reaching the same people over and over.
Yeah. So for you, it was really about gaining visibility to new audiences. And how did you have a specific goal or did you define what success would look like for you after a year or more of podcast guesting? Or was it kind of just trusting that this is going to get us visibility and let's see what happens?
We had no idea what the reaction would be. And we were stunned at the response. Many times, when you put an ad online or you put an ad in a print publication, you don't know. What I love about podcast guesting is that we're able to see and measure the results because when a show drops, my sales team knows about it because they say, "Oh, a show is dropping today. The phone is going to ring." So they have to be on their toes. So and what we also have found of is the life of these shows lasts so much longer than traditional advertising. It's amazing that people will call you up 6, 12 months after a show drop that they picked up and respond and react and talk to you wanting to hear about your business and what you can offer them.
Awesome. And so in our guest expert incubator, I talked about the strategies for monetizing from the green room chat with the host to the topics that you're talking about, your messaging, your call to action. Can you tell our audience here a little bit about your strategies for making it so when an episode drops, your sales team's phone is ringing? What do you feel like you're doing that is motivating those listeners to take action?
Sure. And really it's kind of a two-prong approach in our business because generally the hosts are involved in our industry as well. So what we have found is many of the hosts are great prospects of ours, and we have work with them. We work with them. The other piece is out there is being a good partner and promoting the podcast that you're on because it really builds your credibility with your existing audience. And many times when we have new credit union clients or people checking us out, what's the first thing you do for somebody these days? You search them up online and poof, we have all this credibility branding where people can see and hear and know who we are. And that's just invaluable compared to just a static website that we've had in the past.
Yeah, and I've heard you talk as well about the power, the positioning that comes from being a podcast guest. You mentioned when somebody called you, they're like, "Wait, you're the guy on the podcast." Can you talk about how this has impacted your celebrity or your positioning with your clients?
It is, and we have two sets of clients. We have credit unions that we work with, and we have small businesses. And it really creates this parasocial relationship because people call in and usually they hit my option and because I try to be very accessible and they call back and they say, wait a minute, you're the guy who I just heard online. And they don't know that I'm sitting in my home office or, kind of my background, and my kids don't care about if anybody talks to me. But to them, you were somebody who that was on the show that they listen to regularly, and it creates there. And also just in the industry, when I go to conferences, people walk up and they start to have a conversation with you where you left off on a show, which to me is really, really strange and something that I never thought would happen to me. And I realize it takes me a couple seconds to say, oh, you heard what I said and you listen and reacted to it. And our credit unions use my appearances as a powerful messages, and the borrowers and small business owners listen to this and have this bond and instant credibility as opposed to just googling up somebody, because they have seen, they've heard you, they listen to it, and you can convey your trustworthiness and your expertise more than any other medium that we have found.
That's amazing. And what have the results been? What have the quantifiable results been from your investment in podcast guesting over the last several years?
Sure, absolutely. We have crossed the over $40 million in loans booked through this, through our initiatives, which it is money for our credit union's clients. It's fee income to us many times more than our initial investment. And just that credibility in the marketplace that it has given us has really moved us forward. The financial results are the easiest piece, but podcast guesting is the most effective advertising that we have seen out of everything that we have done. We all go to trade shows and and work these booths painfully, and but we so many more people hear our message uh online and through their favorite audio platforms. So yeah, the financial pieces and what we've invested to what we've received is very tangible, and paid for itself many times over.
And you've gone on to also start your own podcast, build your personal brand. Tell us a little bit about your journey in becoming a podcast host.
Sure. I say this is the most awkward and uncomfortable thing that I've ever done in my life. Because if you would have asked me 10 to 15 years ago if that would be me, I would have laughed at you, and probably so would have my friends and family. But I really enjoy the speaking part of what I do, and talking with people. And really, I've found that I'm able to take that communication and friendly, talkative style and push it out to people, and our company has seen the benefits of it. And really, so we've been able to, people that have, I have been on their show, they've been on mine, and it's really building that network. Who among us doesn't want to build that network even more effectively than what you can? And this is a great way to do that in a manner that it just keeps on going. So yeah, I have, you pushed me into the website and the podcast, and I reluctantly went into it. I could say it's just been a great move on all sides.
That's incredible. And do you have any pieces of advice, words of wisdom for those who are attending this free event and they're maybe on the fence? They're thinking about working with us. They've attended our master classes before, but they haven't yet booked a call. They haven't yet signed up to work with Interview Connections. What would your advice be to those individuals?
Sure. Don't try to be somebody you're not. Take yourself and amplify it out. Be natural, be conversational, be informative, and be helpful and a resource to your podcast host, and everything will come back to you. But nobody will listen. Podcasting is not a PowerPoint presentation in a hotel conference room. It's a conversation. So really be who you are, have stories, be fun, have fun with it, and don't treat it like you're reading the 6 o'clock news.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And you've been doing this for, a long time. You've been working with us for many years. Can you talk about the importance of a long-term commitment to podcast guesting? Because I know some people want to just try it out for a month or two and see if it works, but what do you have to say about this being a long-term investment?
Yeah, it's not something that you can expect to go on one show and just be done with it. It takes a commitment, it takes time. Not and many when I first got onto this, I thought, what would be my peak of my existence if I'm on to like the top 10 entertainment podcast shows? No, that would be the worst thing in the world because none of the people that I want to talk to or listen to it. Go on the shows in your industry, go where the audiences make sense. They're smaller shows that you will get many times more of a reaction to. This is not about, being on that top 3 or 4 podcasts in the entire country. Those are entertainment shows. Those are not you who you're talking to and your audience.
Yeah, so, so true. So, Mark, where can our viewers here find you online if they want to see more of your podcasts?
Sure, we'd love to talk to people. If you're a small business owner and you need some help, check me out at markritter.com. I'm very active on LinkedIn. You can connect with us. You can hit me up to talk about podcast hosting, podcast guesting, or if you just need help with your business, that we can see if we can put some in a better spot financially.
Love that. Yeah, I see people posting like, where can, my client get a trusted loan, a business loan, financing? I say, got to check out Mark Ritter because that's the thing with financial related businesses. People have to trust you. There has to be trust when you're investing in something, when you're getting a loan, things like that. So love that you're going on podcasts. Love that you're hosting a show. And for everyone watching who you're thinking about getting booked on podcasts, this is what you need for your business. Book a consultation call with me, interviewconnections.com/call. If you're on the replay page, you can click the link below this video. We've got discounts and bonuses expiring on Friday. So take action right now. Get on my calendar. Let's do this. Let's get you off the fence and onto podcasts. And Mark, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your wisdom.
Thank you, Jessica.
All right. Bye for now, everyone. We'll be back with more bonus sessions later today.